This is one of my favorite hours that we do. We are talking to authors behind some of the hottest summer beach reads as we get ready to go into beach season. My next guest's first attempt at writing a bestseller was rejected 98 times. But author Bonnie Garmus did not let that stop her, and a good thing she did not let it stop her because her debut novel was just celebrated. Parade magazine described it as the Big Bang Theory meets the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's a satirical comedy called Lessons in Chemistry, and it's even caught the attention of Oscar-winning actress Brie Larson, who is executive producing and starring in an Apple Plus series based on the story Bonnie Garmus created. And she joins us from London. Bonnie, welcome to the show. I mean, is it surreal for you at this point? The Washington Post says there is an infectious absurdity to Lessons in Chemistry.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. Yeah, it's still been absurd to me too. So it's been wild. I'm thrilled though.
I know. So 98 rejections. You could have easily given up. People often wonder why or what tells someone to keep going when they are facing adversity. What was telling you to keep going?
You know, that is such a good question. I don't really know, except that I'd had a really bad day at work one time, and when I got back to my desk, I was still kind of vibrating from that meeting, and I decided to turn my anger into the first chapter of Lessons in Chemistry, and that worked out.
Wow, I love that. I mean, there's a saying, it goes something like, let your haters be your inspirators or whatever. I mean, you turn this
Something
negative,
like that,
I don't know, I'm not good with quotes. But Bonnie, in the book, you set so beautifully this era of the 60s and what women were dealing with and what life was like. You set the scene here. You said back in 1961, when women wore shirt-waist dresses and joined garden clubs and drove legions of children around in seat-beltless cars without giving it a second thought, back before anyone knew that there'd even be a 60s movement, the 30-year-old mother of Madeline Zout rose before dawn every morning and felt certain of just one thing: her life was over. So here you have this imagery of life, but also the complexity of feeling like you have no purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, and Elizabeth Zott certainly felt like she had no purpose, or she wasn't allowed to have a purpose.
Yeah. When I was... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
She was a scientist. She was trying to be a scientist, and back then a woman could not aim that high, and certainly not have a real job in research. And so she is let go from her research job, and she ends up having a cooking show because that's what women could do, right? They could cook on television, or maybe they could say, this is what's behind door number 3. But they certainly couldn't do science.
And she was looking for this world that was seemingly out of touch. For you, what kind of research, again, because you're going back into a time where very few women like her existed in the science world, what was the research like for you to create this character?
Well, you know, I had a long think about this era because that's when my mom was a mom.
Yeah.
And I realized that I really didn't understand the limitations that she had lived under. And so when I started to research that area, that time period, I realized, wow, you know, we have progressed, not enough, but we have made strides. And I wanted to recognize that. At the same time, you know, putting forth the audience, boy, we still have a long way to go. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people read this book and they say, especially women in science, they say, you know what, not that much has changed, which I find a little disturbing.
Well, I mean, I love this. I think it's phenomenal reflection of what things were like, and to your point, how far we have to go. I also love that you've teamed up with Brie Larson. Not bad company you're keeping there, Bonnie. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm pretty lucky.
Well, Bonnie's novel, Lessons in Chemistry, is available now. And guess what? Everyone in the audience is going home with a copy of this awesome beach read. Get ahead of the curve. This is a great one. Bonnie, thank you so much. We hope to see you in studio